A guy knocked on Themba's door asking for a donation to build a community swimming pool. Themba gave him a bucket of water. Good Monday evening to you and welcome to Talk with Rams Live. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And thank you so much for choosing to join us on this rather chilly Monday evening. I have seen images of what is happening in Cape Town, and I have to ask myself, what is happening to this country? We are handling too many things at the same time. And then the president decides to ban alcohol sales and distribution again. I suspect there are many grumpy people out there, which is why I'm always happy for Monday Motivation or Motivation Monday with Dr. T, because it is one feature that is guaranteed, and I say this without mincing my words, it's guaranteed to refocus us on things that truly matter with immediate effect, wink, wink, and no need for entanglement when Dr. T is right here with us. And I wink again. Talk with Rams is brought to you by Canna Coffee, the most delicious, best tasting coffee with extreme health benefits. It's manufactured by Canna Coffee Company. This coffee has potent, creamy, and long-lasting flavors which are low in acidity and delightfully romantic. To buy Canna Coffee or acquire the Canna Coffee franchise, call 082-730-4112, 082-730-4112. Before we go to our main feature, there's something I need to clear very quickly. A lot of times people share what has been happening on the show, or you've been watching the show for the first time, either on Instagram or Facebook. And what I see happening most of the time is that at the end of each show, I get a lot of friend requests on my Facebook or on Instagram, people following me. That's a mistake, fellows. You must follow the show, both platforms, the show. Honestly, I'm not that type of guy. I'm not interested in being famous. I'm interested in this show being significant. Do not worry about me. It happens also on Twitter. And on Twitter, we also talk with Rams. I've been around, and I'm sure I have about 20,000, 25,000 followers on Twitter, because I've never been interested in building my own following. It means absolutely nothing to me. But following the platform is so important, guys. It is where you will get the things that you need to get. When you follow me, you're going to hear me complain about government. You're going to see me posting about the sunset and me running from time to time. And occasionally you're going to hear, pick up some jokes that I share on my platform. I don't think those things are any helpful. So please do me a favor. Follow the page or the pages, all of them, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and also subscribe to the YouTube page, Talk with Rams. Do not worry about this guy called Rams. He's okay. He seeks no fame. Do not worry about him. The lesser followers I have, the better my life will be. So last week on Motivation Monday with Dr. Thando Sibanda, we started on the journey of developing a bigger self-concept. We had just started on the principles that govern this self-concept when we ran out of time. There are, and this is not me, this is Dr. T, there are 10 of these principles, and we had just touched on 2. But we're going to start from scratch and deal with all 10 of them without starting at the top of the conversation. So let's welcome our personal development coach, Dr. Thando Sibanda, an internationally recognized professional speaker, author, and interventionist. He's right here with me, as usual, every Monday. Dr. T, good evening.
Good evening, Rams. Man, I love that disclaimer that you gave about people following the show and not just you. I love it, man. I love it.
I promise you, Dr. T, I have no heirs. You know, fact is, if I passed on tomorrow, there'll be 50 people at my funeral. The 100,000 people who will follow me means absolutely nothing to them. So I honestly have no problems with not being followed or liked on Facebook. But I think what the platform offers is significant. And
I
the
agree.
more we have more people following and liking us, the more we can attract people to play on the space, because there are people who will only play once they see the numbers. That's where it matters. But if you grow the numbers of a guy called Rams, Dr. D, I think it's a wasted growth, honestly.
Well, man, I love your self-concept. It's built on value and the value that you can disseminate. That's lovely. That's lovely. I think it's great we're talking about self-concept today, because it really speaks to what you're saying. It's a practical example of what you're saying.
Thank you so much, Dr. T. So let's recap again. Self-concept, Dr. T. What is that in simple Monday English?
Right. Self-concept in simple Monday English is really the picture that you have about yourself. It's the mental picture, it's the mental image that you have about yourself. And it is that image from which you then project to the outside world. How you see yourself is how you will project yourself as far as the outside world is concerned. And so a lot of times people try to change their circumstances, and people want to change externally without addressing the internal mechanism or the internal framework. I think that's putting the cart before the horse kind of thing.
And why is it important though, Dr. T?
Well, it is very critical, because remember, what people see is what we project. People go to work, and they sell themselves short. People look for jobs, they sell themselves short. They get into relationships, they sell themselves short. It's simply because there is an issue with the self-concept. There is no confidence. There is no understanding of the value that we carry. And so, we always say, if you sell yourself desperately, you will be bought very cheap. So having a very healthy self-concept allows you to know that you are valuable. Your self-confidence goes up before you say anything. Your value goes up like a prospering share.
Wow. So last week we dealt with the principles, and I'm still fascinated by the first principle you shared with me. Every human being has value.
Absolutely. Every human being has intrinsic value, Rams. It's called intrinsic value. You are born with value. It's what is called base level value. Whether you are poor, you are an orphan, you live in the third world, you are uneducated, you are black, you have no connections whatsoever. Every human being is valuable. We are born with it. That's intrinsic value. Then you can add what is called assimilated value. That's where you learn a skill, you go to school, you start creating a lot of value that people can tap into. But at base level, people should understand that they are valuable. They are born valuable. And that should always be the beginning premise.
But should I be born in a specific place of privilege, Dr. T? Does it matter that I was born, in Landadna in Cape Town or in Khayelitsha in Cape Town?
That's a very good point, Rams. Every place is a beginning place. You see, if we understood that every place is a beginning place, then we will not be depressed about our surroundings. We've heard the story of apartheid, man. Jan van Riebeeck came here in 1652. You're talking what? So, over 300 years ago. I mean, apartheid, as a policy started in 1948. As a policy rather, but though the principles existed, you see, and the point is that we are 20 odd something years into the new democracy that we are building. We can't still look back and want to blame the past. Understand that every place is a beginning place. You can build from where you are. You don't have to be defined by where you come from. You can build from today and start building a solid self-concept that can move you forward. We know we are not the same. We've not come from the same. Others have had 300-400 years of building blocks. Some of us are literally starting. We are the first liners in our family, but understand that every place is a beginning place.
And if you say that, Dr. T, does it then matter about where I am now, my present location? Is that the main thing that matters in my life, or what?
Right. The critical thing is that we need to understand that your present location does not have to be your ultimate destiny. Now, this is the issue, Rams. A lot of us look at our situations today. In fact, when you drive around, whether you drive around the township or you speak to some of our people, brothers and sisters in general, there is a sense of positional hopelessness. Positional hopelessness says, my father was poor, I am poor, it will never change, so my kids will be poor. So we don't even try. We don't try to make things better. We don't try to create better opportunities or chances for ourselves, but it's critical to understand that your present location does not have to be your ultimate destiny. When you get into a setback, don't sit in the setback, don't settle in the setback. Understand that you've got a comeback. Start getting ready for your comeback.
Now, one of the things that we all have heard, Dr. T, we grew up hearing this, we continue hearing it from people we know and strangers. Everyone repeats this concept of self-confidence. How critical is it as a principle here?
Look, self-confidence, Rams, is key. Self-confidence and self-management are key to progress. Here is the challenge. A lot of us seek external management and seek external affirmation. But you see, affirmation must not start outside. It must start within. We've got to grow our own self-concept to a point where we are comfortable with who we are, we are confident in who we are, so that when we stand up to speak, we are able to project confidence because we feel confident. And it's not about confidence because today I dressed in this way manner, so then I feel confident, or today something happened, I'm feeling positive, then I feel no. It's that intrinsic confidence where you know that, you know what, I matter, I've got a voice. A lot of our people have missed out on opportunities of promotion, of bringing solutions and everything else, because we did not feel that we were confident enough to speak, even though we had the solution. We start second guessing ourselves, and that is what takes us down. That is what brings us back. If no one ever paid you a compliment from the outside, would you still manage to be the best that you can be? I think that's a question that a lot of us need to look at and answer effectively. Would I still be the person I am? Would I still be able to do the things I do? Would I still understand that I carry value if no one paid a compliment to me? See, now that speaks to your self-concept.
Well, Dr. T, I hear that, and does it mean, and I'm being, this is me because I've been bothered by a lot of stuff. This is why I also say people should not really follow me on social media, because it means absolutely nothing. Because the kind of stuff I see, I see people posting, somebody would be going to church, but what they post is the Range Rover more than them going to church. Or they'd be posting that it's raining, but what they post is the smeg kettle instead of it being cold. Is this yearning of affirmation by the outside world?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's so critical, and the challenge is that, you see, it's like the opium that the masses take. This concept that is not real. You see, that's the thing. That is why you are saying on our Instagram, we post things we don't have to impress people we don't like and get affirmation we don't need. So we really work ourselves in terms of our own internal representation mechanisms into a corner. There is this incessant desire to be recognized by others when we don't even recognize our own selves. It's almost like I can only feel good about myself because there's a certain outlook that I'm painting, in the outside world, so that I can get affirmation. So what? If you don't value yourself, you will never go anywhere. That is why, Rams, it is easy to take, if I can use a biblical example, to take someone out of Egypt, but it's difficult to remove the Egypt out of someone. That's the problem. That's usually the challenge.
So I have a joke, Dr. T, about a madman who's found writing a letter. And the friend asked the madman, "Who are you writing the letter to?" And he says, "How do you expect me to know? I haven't finished writing the letter." Now, the reason I asked that question, Dr. T, is Does the future matter? Does the end matter in what I'm doing? Does it have to be predictable?
Right. This is let's discuss a very key concept here. We are all a product of our past. So you've been pushed by your past choices and circumstances into the present. Right now, where you are, where I am, where Freddie is, where all our viewers are tonight, everybody is where they are because of past choices or past circumstances, things you had control over, things you didn't have control over. Now you are in your today. Here's the point. If nothing changes in today, what has pushed you into the present will become the present that pushes you into what is called a predictable future. So all of us right now can project where our future is going. You don't need a prophet to do that. You don't need someone to read your ID and this and that. No, everybody in our present, we can project our predictable future if nothing changes. But my point is that the moment you make a decision to change the present, the moment you redefine your self-concept, the moment you rediscover yourself, the moment you reinvent yourself, you are launching a new dimension called an alternative future. That is where you can build, and within the next year or 2 years, people will look at you and say, what? Are you the same person we knew back then? What happened? Oh, wow. You know, are you the same person? Why? Because the future can be alternative. It does not have to be predictable. We hold the power or the strength to alter the outcomes of our future in our present today.
Wow. So, Dr. T, I always think about boxers when I think of examples of life, and I always ask myself, when do I know that I'm ready? When do I know that I'm perfect to get into that ring and fight? Do I have to be perfect to start with?
Look, the reality, Rams, is that shaky people can do steady projects. Shaky people can do steady projects. Most often, our self-concepts tend to be more concerned with finding fault than not. So we define ourselves from our weaknesses and not necessarily our strengths. And so we then engage in procrastination because I always think I'm not ready. I always think I'm not ready to step into my possibilities. I always don't think I'm ready, to step into the next level. I'm always not ready to go back to school. It takes too long. I'm always not ready to write the book. I'd rather watch movies. We subconsciously talk ourselves out of our destiny and our best place to be because we want to wait. Our mind says, no, wait until you are perfect. Wait until you are solid. And guess what? So then we refrain from what is called self-nomination. Self-nomination is where you tell yourself, it's okay for me to start the Talk with Rams show. It's okay. Even if there are 5 people, I'm going to build it. And one day, a lot more people will understand. See, that concept of self-nomination to a point where you move into action is the critical point where a lot of people don't go to because they think they've got to be perfect first. They think everything needs to be in order. They think the teeth need to be aligned. I first of all need to do something to myself. No, shaky people can do steady projects. It's very important for us to understand that, and you self-correct as you go. Believe me, the day you started out on radio was not where you are today. The day you started out on TV was not where you are. You self-correct. Even when you get on an aeroplane to say, I'm going to fly to America, do you know that it self-corrects as it goes? If it doesn't self-correct, it's no longer going where you think it's going. So start. Shaky people can do steady projects. Get going and self-correct as you go. That speaks to an amazing self-concept, Rams.
Wow. Dr. T, you said to me in the conversation 2 weeks ago when we were planning for this, you mentioned the principle that you said you'll elaborate on. You said your self-concept must be driven by who you are becoming, not who you used to be.
Oh, this is very big. This is very big. You see, the challenge is that, Rams, we live in a society that is very brutal, right? The society is very brutal. And so that's why I'm saying your self-concept must be driven by who you are becoming. Because remember, You are becoming more of who you are becoming. You're not becoming more of who you were. So when you reinvent yourself, you are giving yourself an opportunity to become what you are reinventing or who you are reinventing yourself to be. But the challenge is that when society can't deal with who you are becoming, they want to go back to who you used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so they will bring that in your face. They will use that to judge you, to bring you down, to make sure that, you know, I call it the crab mentality. It's so funny that we love models, you know, we love models, Rams, and you know, and people will sponsor models, and we want models to be perfect. But do you know how much foundation and mascara and whatever goes into creating that perfect picture? It's simply because there is no one who is perfect.
Yes.
And yet we want to create that picture of perfection. And yet when somebody has turned around and they want to reinvent themselves, we always want to throw their past in their face so that it becomes an impediment and they can't move forward. It's there. I mean, it's there on black Twitter. It's there on white Twitter, on every other color Twitter. You know, you will be judged by who you were 10 years ago. And yet it defies the whole concept of self-development. Why is there self-development if you are not allowed to develop?
So inevitably, Dr. T, when that happens, I suppose I also then start focusing on the rear view mirror, because that's what the world is taking me to.
Absolutely, absolutely. We start then focusing on the rear view mirror, and then the rear view mirror now creates this concept of the present. And that is the problem, because you cannot move forward by focusing on the rear view mirror. That there is a reason why the windscreen is 99% bigger than the rear view mirror. It's important to understand the concept of failure. Failure is only fatal when you don't learn from it. But success, consistent success, is the result of consistently failing forward. And that is why there's a paradox here, because society will want to judge you by your failures, but you've got to understand in your own self-concept that you can't ever move forward by looking at your failures and looking at forward. Let me talk about the technology of scars quickly before I move on. We need to understand the power of scars. And I'm going to talk scars and wounds. Here is the point. Wounds speak of where you are. A wound is painful. If I have a wound, I feel so much pain. I can't move on because of the wound. But a scar speaks of where I have been, but there is no emotion tying me to the pain. Apparently, I've got a little scar there. I got burned by porridge when I was a kid. It's a scar, you know, it contributes to my nice looks. I have no emotion. I have no pain. I can move forward because I allowed the wound to become a scar. So we need to learn to make our wounds scars. A lot of us want to hold on to the wound. Something happened 25 years ago. You don't want it to become a scar and move on. You're like, no, I have a right, it's my wound. You will never move forward if you will not allow your wound to become a scar. I call it ligmo, let it go and move on. You see, but we don't heal because we don't allow ourselves to heal. The power is in your hands to say, you know what, let me let it go, let me learn from it, and let me move on. You know, and this is the point. That whole concept of models becomes a challenge. Who would you rather follow, Rams, if we were going to war? If there's a general with a lot of scars, and there's another general who looks like a Greek model, never hit a scarf. Who will you follow to war?
Without a doubt, the guy with scars has been around.
Yes, yes. You see now the paradox of it. You see, whenever you are relaunching yourself, you are building on the added benefit of all the wounds that have become scars. So it's important, learn and move forward. Don't be caught up. You know, you can't follow the Greek model into war. He doesn't know anything. And yet we despise scars and we want to hold people by their scars and say, because you have a scar, you can't come in here. There's a challenge there.
Because we all have experience, we're talking to people, you know, on this show, we are all adults and have had experiences and we've got scars to show for it. Do we all have the capacity to reinvent ourselves from our scars?
Oh, yes, yes. Everybody has the capacity. Remember, the capacity is based on your self-concept. That is why, for example, things like forgiveness is not an external activity. Forgiveness is an internal activity. Because forgiveness is not based on the remorse of the offender. Or forgiveness is based on the willpower of the offended. So that's why you can forgive someone who will never say sorry. I know, maybe that sounds too hard. Maybe that sounds too difficult. You can forgive someone who is not sorry because you need that wound to become a scar so that you can move on. So everybody has got that internal capacity. That is why even the body heals. I remember talking to a friend of mine who's a doctor. She was saying, look, I always look at how people can become better, because when you understand medicine, the essence of medicine is that you get progressively better. You have a wound. Oh, okay, let's bandage the wound. Oh, it's getting better. You come back next time, it's closing up. You come back, it's closed. Then you remove the bandage. So internally, our system was created to actually self-heal. But because when it comes to emotions, we hold our emotions, we refuse to self-heal. And we don't understand that it's you who has the capacity to rebirth yourself.
Trust the last part. So I'm going to talk about with us this platform, going out to people, looking for people to partner with, to sponsor with us. When they don't respond, Dr. T, one gets tired. You start to think that all these doors are closed. Is that a realistic view?
It's not realistic. Let me tell you something. We need to engage this. Part of our self-concept must be this concept of always bouncing back. And I'll tell you why. It's there in human beings. That's why you find it in children. There is no kid who just stands up and walks like an adult. All our children stand up, 2, 2, 2, falls, 2, 2, 2, falls, takes 3 steps, falls, but they never stay down because they have fallen. They have got this thing within them that says, even if I have fallen, I can get up again. And that's why I'm saying it's not every door that is closed, that is locked. Some doors are only closed on account of the weather. We need to learn the value of persistence in knocking on doors that seem like they are closed. Because it's not all of them that are locked. Some are simply closed on account of the weather. We're in winter right now. Nobody stays with their door open. So you could literally stand there and say, all the doors are closed. They are not locked. They're just closed on account of the weather. Go and push. You'll be amazed at how many doors can open.
Now, folks, listen very carefully for the next principle. Dr. T argues that there is something great that you inherited in your parents, and it matters.
Absolutely, absolutely. You've got to build capacity, build on what your mama gave you. It's critical. We've got that self-launch thing. You see, a lot of us, our parents gave us stuff that we don't build on. We just use that as the ceiling and we kill it. It's important that you build on what your mother gave you. Build on what your daddy gave you. Even if all they gave you was love, even if all they gave you was a lack of it, even if all they gave you was a basic education or a lack of it, whatever you were given is a tool from which you can build. It's not fodder for you to go and sit on a talk show and say, I'm like this because my mother was like this, or because my father. Build on what your mama gave you. Don't just shake it. Build on what your mama gave you.
So for the first time now, folks, you know that line was not only meant about shaking your body, because we use it when we shake our bodies and we shake what our mama gave us. So Dr. T, you say things that always leave me fascinated. You say the last best time to plant a tree was 25 years ago. The present time, though, is the best time.
Absolutely, absolutely. The last best time to plant a tree was 25 years ago. The next best time is now. You see, Rams, we've got to use what is called the power of our imagination. Remember, your imagination is the preview to life's forthcoming attractions. Launch your imagination. Look into what you are capturing and start moving forward. Because what matters is what you are going to do today. What matters is the decision you have in your hand today. Don't worry about the $1 million you don't have now. Don't worry about the billion you don't have. Don't worry about the connections you don't have. The question is, what do you have today? What step are you going to take today? That's the point. You can't always be saying, you know what, I'm just going to write that book. How many pages can you write today? You can't say that I'm going to become the CEO. What good can you do where you are today? Because the last best time to plant a tree was 25 years ago. Guess what? The next best time is today. And this is what I want to say, Rams. These are the good old days of the next 25 years.
Oh.
These are the
so
good
in 25
old
years,
days.
when we say the good old days in 25 years, we'll be talking about today.
We're talking about today. We're talking about today. So what memory of the future are you creating? So that when the next 25 years comes, you're like, my God, you know, in the good old days when we stood up and wrote books, man, when we stood up and launched out red carpets with Rams and we started these things, we didn't have sponsors, we didn't have this, but we did it anyway. You see, these are the good old days of the next 25 years. What are you creating as a testimony for your next 25 years?
But Dr. T, when I get motivated and when people get motivated by what you say, we then throw everything in with huge intensity. And then we get tired because we don't then follow up.
Right. We take it easy, one step at a time. Remember, Rome was not built in a day. What is important is consistency and not just intensity. It's really, you know, we do youth seminars and create momentum and then give people certificates and say, hey, you are now a leader or this, that. But believe me, it's the consistency of what we do. That's why we brush our teeth every day. That is why you exercise for 25 minutes every day. Over time, you see the cumulative effect. I nearly broke my back the other day. I carried way too much weight. You know, and I thought, no, man, I should have just taken it one little step at a time. Yes. And that's how you build yourself. You build your self-concept one step at a time. Don't overload yourself. It's very important that you build one step at a time.
Okay, so I should not brush my teeth 8 hours about twice a year.
No. just those 3-4 minutes a day makes all the difference. You know, excellent. That walk a day makes all the difference. That a page a day makes all the difference. That you know, reading it, whatever you are doing, building up to your big picture, do it. It's about consistency and not just intensity. But what's important, Rams, is that we start. We've got to start. We've got to get going. Today needs to be the day that our viewers look into their lives, look into their own self-concepts and say, what can I tweak so that I don't live on this concept of procrastination? I can move into where I want to go today.
Today, Dr. T, because history demands it, the present requires it, and the future, your whole DNA depends on it. Those are not my words. Those words belong to Dr. T.
Absolutely.
I'm a student here. I'm quoting Dr. T. History demands it. The present requires it. The future depends on it. Change your self-concept today.
Thank you. That's what it is, my brother.
I'm glad we got to the end of this because it was important for our followers to hear this. It is very critical, Dr. T. It hurts me to see people doubt themselves, people not believing that they're capable, people thinking that I am better because I've got my platform, they don't have their own platform. And I say, but you've got a strength I don't have. Work on your strengths.
Absolutely.
And because the minute you start believing in your strengths, you're going to be a champion in yours. I'm a champion here because I trust these strengths and I've used them to build what I'm building. And as you say, I don't know how long it will last, but I know in 25 years, I'll look back and say, I'm glad I did it.
Thank you, my brother. Run in your own lane, move fast in your own lane. The future is full of possibilities. That's the key.
Dr. T, always wonderful having you. I wish tomorrow was Monday.
I'm enjoying this, man. You see, now we can coach. Now let's raise our people, man. I love this. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. T, and have a great evening.
Thank you. Thanks, Ram. Same to you.
And thank you to all of you. We see your comments, and let me read some of them. Although I think you enjoying too much and not commenting. Vicky says, good evening, my beautiful people. Les King Mayor says, true, everyone is valuable. Benedict Mafaiza says, Dr. T, my word, clap once. He says, there was a comment that I liked on Instagram that spoke about values, which was very important. Anyway, Dr. T, thank you very much. And thank you to every one of you for joining us. We are back tomorrow, same time, same platforms. Talk with Rams live on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Please subscribe to our YouTube page. When you do so, and take a picture of your subscription and send it to admin@talkwithrams.com. You qualify for 50% of a book of somebody you may or may not have heard about called Dr. Thando Sibanda, The Winning Mindset. We give you 50% of that. All you have to do is to take a picture of your subscription to the page. We're not asking for more. Then, of course, like our Facebook page and follow the Instagram page. All of them, Talk with Rams. Don't just choose the last word, Rams. It's a dangerous word. Don't go for that one. Go for the whole platform. Thank you very much, Frederick. It's been good to have you on a Monday. It feels good to miss you over the weekend lately. You know, it's a great thing. So, folks, we shall see you tomorrow, same time. Thank you very much. From me, Rams Mabote, good night and God bless.